This is FCA's Beyond the Game, where faith meets sports. We go beyond the post-game sound bites to real conversations with coaches and athletes who lead by example in every game, match, meet, or moment. We're glad you're here. Now, let's go beyond the game.
Hey there, everyone. Welcome into Beyond the Game. I'm Nikki Noto-Palmer, and I am finally hanging out with my gal pal, Kristen Ledlow. Kristen, I've got to give you your flowers real quick because a lot has happened since the last time I got to look at this girl in the eye. Not only are you an Emmy-winning reporter, listen, you're a Hall of Famer. That's right, y'all. She is a Hall of Famer in the NBA Hall of Fame. You have spent a decade, if not more, of being like Miss Basketball when it comes to NBA, and you got to be on one of the coolest shows in the world, Inside Stuff.
Thank you.
So I just like, I cannot wait to get into this conversation, to catch up, and you guys just to get to hang out while we catch up.
I feel that way about
and
you.
talk sports and obviously like what you're doing for the kingdom, because it's going to be a really fun conversation. So are you ready?
So excited to talk to you.
Okay.
So excited.
I don't even know where to start.
We could do 6 seasons of this easily now.
We really could right now. So let's start season 1 right here.
Love.
Right here, right now. So I obviously know your career, how it went, what you're doing now, but let's go back to little Kristen. I want to talk about little Kristen because I think we all have that aha moment as a young girl of what we want to do, how we're wired, how we're going to get there. How old were you when you were like, this is what I want to do and I'm going to do it?
Yeah, my aha moment was very early because I was this height when I was like 12. So
You're the tall girl.
Which is very tall. Yeah. You can't tell while sitting in this seat.
How tall are you?
But close to 6 foot. I think I've lost some height having babies. Did that happen to you?
No, my foot got bigger.
My feet got bigger also.
Yeah.
But I think like you start to shrink and then your feet go out. You get smaller.
My brain has shrunk.
What? Yes.
Same. Shrunk. Okay. So super tall at a young age.
Yes. Super tall at a young age. The only girl on my all-male basketball team at the Y, and the head coach and his assistant, or maybe it was her assistant, were my mom and dad. I don't know who was the head coach and who was the assistant. I'm
Your
sure
mom for sure.
I think so too. But she would put me in a big yellow bow to match my yellow jersey, and they would say, give it to her. She's the biggest one on the team. And I just really fell in love with the game of basketball very early on. It was the only place that I felt comfortable entirely in my body. Yeah. And I knew that I wanted to work in or around it in some capacity, always. But I didn't know exactly what that would look like until I got into college and started working on a broadcast degree. But you asked about little Kristen. So it was very early on. It was then that I knew that I wanted to dedicate the entirety of my life to the game of basketball.
To the game, and you did. I know that there are probably a lot of student athletes and ladies in particular that have a similar story to that. Now, when you talk about how much taller you were, that's like a thing with girls growing up, student athletes. I did not have that burden cast upon me, if you will, but I know that you rose to the occasion with that. Did it come with confidence? Were you like, yes, I am owning this, or were you more reserved with
Later,
it?
yes.
Okay.
But I was like a senior in high school before any one of the boys were even taller than me in my class. It was like a long time before I felt like that I didn't hunch in every picture. Like you can look at pictures of me as a kid and I'm always kind of like legs spread, leaning down very awkwardly, trying to look like I'm not the substitute teacher in the class photo instead of like a head and shoulders taller than everybody else. So I was not confident in it early. And it really was on the basketball court and eventually volleyball as well that I felt like, oh, this is an advantage, not a disadvantage. Like this is where, this is going to pour into the skill set that I can use. You know, this is going to make me better than everybody, not worse. And I think I was maybe in college before I started really liking being tall.
Okay.
And then it obviously paid off covering the NBA for as many years. Like, you're right there. I put on heels and I'm 6'4". And so it's like, you're right there. That's one of the first things that people say to me whenever they meet me is, well, it's like, first of all, like, what's LeBron James like? And the second is like, I didn't know you were going to be that tall, because it's like, if I'm standing next to Shaq, I just look like a regularly sized human. But, it wasn't an advantage until later, for sure.
Okay, but how did that help your confidence and your posture? Maybe not your physical posture, right? But like your posture and how you just went about your day to day. How did that help you?
Oh, I love that question, because you say not physically, but really physically being taller than everybody. I definitely hunched until I found it to be an advantage. And it wasn't until I got good at the sports that I loved that I realized it was an advantage and started walking into the room with my shoulders back. Like, I if you act like you've been there before.
Yeah.
But that was much later on.
Okay. So let's just go to later on. Okay.
Yes.
Because like little Kristen, you were taller than everyone else. You grew into that confidence. It took a minute.
Yeah.
You said that probably kicked in college?
Yeah. I was certainly confident in my body and my ability when I was in high school.
Yeah.
The summer between 9th and 10th grade, I gained a lot of like healthy weight and muscle, and I wasn't like, 5'11" and 92 pounds anymore. And so I felt like, oh, okay, I'm strong and I'm tall and I can jump high. And but in college is really when I started to embrace it. And then when I recognized like this thing that I love, this game of basketball that I love, it's an advantage here, but it's also an advantage as I cover it. You walk in and you look like, she probably played the game. Yeah. And so it certainly was something that I grew to embrace later on.
I love the smile that you have and the light that just radiates from you when you talk about a game. Oh. Truly. Yeah. And so what was that like for you to fall in love with a game? Yeah. And you can walk away saying, I got to play in college. Yeah, what was that like for you?
What's really cool too is because of the people I played alongside in college and because of the coaches that I had, coach specifically. Yeah. It was also the season of life where I was getting to know and falling in love with Jesus. And so I really have this, when I think about college athletic, it's like I don't even really think about my own time playing there. In high school, I think about how competitive I was and how important it was to me to be the best and to get to the next level. And then in college, when I think about it, I really think so much of the foundation that was laid while I was playing by the people I was playing for and alongside dictated the direction of my life. It wasn't just that, oh, well, look, I get to play these two sports that I love so much at a collegiate level. It was for the very first time getting to know who I am apart from what I do, and with very little perspective at that point as to like how important that would be later. And so when I think about getting to play the game at the highest level and then getting to cover the game at the actual I didn't play it at the highest level. I covered it at the highest level. I didn't play it. That's actually where my mind goes, is when the stakes got higher, I was falling more in love with Jesus.
So cool.
And I was getting to know who I am because of whose I am.
Yeah.
And it was a game changer in every way.
So when you think about that, of being back in college, falling in love with Jesus, what was it?
Yeah.
Like, what was the moment that, I mean, I know we said like the aha moment earlier, but you alluded to, maybe nothing had really happened yet, right? Like there hadn't been a lot of conflict or trials and tribulations that I know that we've all faced as we've grown older. But what like, where did Jesus meet you, right? And it doesn't have to be this big thing, right?
There wasn't
it's like these
really
gradual...
one moment. It was so much like a relationship where it's like where we've met and I know about you, right? And now we're spending more time together, and so I like you, and now we've spent even more time together, and so now I love you, and it hit the point that it was like, now my life is so intimately connected to who you were and who you are, that like I think like you, and that every decision I make, I acknowledge you in it first. And so that it was just the long process of becoming. There wasn't one moment where it was like I know that I went from death to life, and that is the reality of our salvation. But it was more so like this process of just the falling in love. The more I get to know about him, the more there is to love.
Yeah.
And that started then, and it's been this like decades long pursuit of knowing him better and loving him more. And I certainly didn't, my life and choices didn't always reflect that. Even after getting to know him, very early on as an adult, I do feel like I was put on a stage that my character was not ready to handle. The light that was on me was a lot brighter than the light that was in me. And so by no means am I coming at this as like, hey, here I am, I fought the fight, I've finished the race, and follow me, because I know exactly what I'm talking about. But it was that relationship and those biblical foundations that I continued to come back to.
Yeah. Well, you use the word pursuit, right? And he's always pursuing us. Yeah. And it sounds like you just had this loving chase, that like our Heavenly Father just continued to pursue. But what made it different for you is that you were open to it. Yeah. Right?
It's why I pray so often when I pray for people that I love that don't either yet know Jesus or follow him intimately. I pray that. I'm like, just pursue their heart in a way that I know you can, because I've seen it happen before. I know you're able to, and I'm asking that you'd be willing to. Yeah. Because that's what it is, right? It's so that good. Like continual pursuit of your heart.
What's your message, Kristen, for these young student athletes, ladies in particular, right? Because what they're going through right now in high school, college even, the things that they have access to, maybe things that have access to their head and their heart, right? That you and I didn't necessarily have in high school, college, not even to the extent of what it is now. What's your advice to them, and especially the ones that might be, those leadership-driven students, right? What's your message to them just in terms of making sure that they are still have their hands like this as Jesus pursues them? Like, what's your message to them? Oh, because it clearly, that was such a pivotal part in your story, and so many of our stories, right?
I would just say, I have seen everything the world has to offer. Everything. And I know, not because somebody told me and not because I read it, that Jesus is better. I know it because I weighed it and found out. Yeah. And my encouragement would be to know the answer to that question, like, who am I apart from what I do, before the bottom falls out. Know that you know that you know who you are and whose you are apart from what you do. It's all just so temporary. It really is. And I think I kind of always thought that it was temporary in the sense that the same way that you probably did, that like, some younger version of me is eventually going to come along and do this job, right? But not so temporary that, like, I was in the back of a car on the way to the airport to cover a Bucks Celtics game on a Wednesday before the notification that kind of everybody got that, hey, the NBA has suspended its season and, we'll reevaluate in a couple of weeks. And that was really, I think, kind of the first domino to fall before really everything started to shut down right after the NBA made that decision. Yeah. And I realized in that moment, and this is, I'm a full grown adult at this point, like a decade into the career that I dreamed of, and the entirety of my identity was taken away in a text message, in a Twitter notification. And I really did not know what to do. Like, I thought, okay, so this is temporary and that maybe one day I won't do the job. Not so temporary that like maybe one day basketball will cease to exist just like that. And they say we'll reevaluate in a couple of weeks. It was a couple of years before it looked anything like it did again, before like fans were sitting in arenas and it looked even remotely similar to what it did like on a Tuesday before that Thursday, and just like that. And so that would be what I would say to my younger self, and certainly to any young woman watching. It's all so temporary, and I know what the world has to offer, and Jesus is better. I know it.
That's so good, Kristen. You know, you mentioned 2020, right? And you see on Twitter, X, like, oh my gosh, my world is about to be turned upside down. And just for context, so Kristen, when I said like she was literally is the queen of NBA basketball. Truly though, you were on NBA TNT. She hosted Inside Stuff. You're in the NBA Hall of Fame, Kristen. Like that is a
like
really
the show. Isn't it like just
no,
me,
but hey,
Thank
stop that. You
Do you
receive
have like a hard
it.
time? I have
You
such a
receive
hard
it.
time receiving.
Receive it.
I have such a hard time receiving that.
You pocket it and you receive it.
I'm like, my skin is itching while you compliment me. I'm like,
she's
stop.
a baller. But here's the point. It's you have someone, right? You that has all of these accolades and talent, and you were at the top. I mean, truly, for any girl out there that, and I know there were probably so many that reached out that said, oh, I want to do exactly what you're doing, Kristen. And by exactly, they meant, no, I love the game of basketball. I want to cover the game of basketball. I want to know what LeBron James is like, because Kristen does. I want to work with Shaq. You were, I mean, when you look back, and that is the top of the mountain. Now, you and I both know it's not all roses up there, right?
Yeah, right.
The Lord has bigger plans. And the way that he has this innate ability to crack open our heart and say, hey, let's talk about identity a little bit.
Yeah.
What did you learn in that moment? For you, it's NBA basketball, covering the biggest of the big. For some of the people that are watching, it's their senior year.
Right.
You know,
and it's
they're
gonna be
going
done.
after like,
Right.
I want to be the all-time leading scorer. I came up short.
Yeah.
I want to play in the state championship game. We lost in the quarterfinals.
Yeah.
Like, what is it that you learned in your moment about identity, and how did that help propel not your career forward, but your heart forward to whose you are, right?
Yeah. Goodness. That is certainly, over these last several seasons of life, what I've held on to, that who I am is significantly more important in the light of eternity than anything that I've done. And I will stand before God one day and answer for the way that I have stewarded my time here and the lives of the little ones that I now have, that I got pregnant with like a month after that, the NBA shut down. Yay!
His plan.
So again, it changed everything. And it gave me perspective that I certainly did not have ahead of that moment. Because I think that once you're at the top, you're still trying to figure out what else. Like there's got to be more. You know, like well, what's the next thing? Like once you've had, there's only so many meals you can have at the top of the mountain before you're like, I'm kind of hungry again. There's got to be something else. And you either keep looking around or you start to head back down. And both are humbling in different ways. But I found myself just like, okay, well, how can what's the next thing? Okay, so, well, I've already done this. I did this for, what now? And I don't know that I ever would have made the decisions I've made for my life to look the way it does, and you know what it looks like now, apart from the bottom falling out when I didn't want it to. I don't know that I would have ever considered there's another way to operate my, I don't know that I would have ever I'm kind of ashamed to admit, like, I don't know that I ever would have felt content.
I know exactly what you mean.
Right? I know that you do. I don't know that I ever would have thought this season in what I'm doing as a mom at home with this hard and holy work would have ever felt like enough if it hadn't been taken away from me under circumstances I couldn't have controlled. So it at the time, it just looked like, oh, this is going to be a 2-week vacation. And I have not, and I was like kind of a newlywed. We had been married for like a year when that happened. And I was like, okay, well, good. We've never really even spent more than 3 days at a time in the same place. So this is going to be great. A 2-week vacation we didn't plan for. And it changed the trajectory of my adult life, not just career. Because the next thing you know, I had to make a decision about, am I going to go down to this NBA bubble that they've created for 100 days. And I just found out that I'm pregnant and I can't leave and go to doctor's appointments. And all of a sudden I'm looking at like, wait, okay, hang on, wait a second.
You were going to fly down, fly
like,
back.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, hang on. I'm trying to weigh what's more important here to cover this bubble season, right, on television, to talk about basketball on television, or to like take care of the life of my firstborn child. Like in my mind, that was a real decision to be made. Yeah. And apart from the circumstances changing as drastically as they did all at once, I don't think I would have ever made the choices I have. I really don't. I think I'm just hard-headed enough that like it had to be taken away for me to gain any level of perspective.
I mean, I'm not saying that he knows that about us, but I'm just saying, like, when we were created, he's like, oh, this one's going to be fun.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, that's where we were at.
Yeah. How did you feel though? Like, Kristen, I'm so proud of you for one, for like leaning into the hard with just the posture of surrender.
Before you move on, can I just like say how much it means to me for you of all people to say that to me? Because obviously nobody's going to know where you and I met for the first time, and you might not even remember meeting me for the first time because you were hosting a show on ESPN and I was anchoring the local news, and you came to Tallahassee to cover a big Florida State game, and I was there like as my own writer, editor, videographer. But I was there doing that job, and you were there hosting a show on ESPN, and I even remember what you were wearing and where you were standing. And like, I so just wanted to meet you and like say hi to you, and thought like, oh man, like she's doing what I want to be doing. And we met that day. Again, you may not remember it, but I remember it. I remember what necklace you were. Like, this is how, like, that's how impactful it was to me, that like somebody who was doing the thing I wanted to do took the time to talk to me the way that you did, and then like follow me back on Twitter or X or whatever we're calling it now. I don't know. I haven't logged in in like 2 years, but and that you kept in touch with me for like, that's like a couple decades ago.
Girl, that was that.
No, it's like, but it is like 15 or so years
2012.
ago. Like, it's a long time ago, and you kept up with me really early on when you had no reason to. And so, like, for it to be you of all people to be sitting in this chair looking at me saying that you're proud of like what I went and did and what I'm doing now is just very impactful to me.
Kristen, you have just been this special human when I first met you, truly. And to watch your career, to watch you lean into the hard, for you to truly have that open posture of going, Lord, what's next? And to not have, I mean, I'm sure you were like this, like white knuckles numerous times, right?
Yeah.
But to ultimately be like this and to know that like what he had planned for you, you might not have known it that 2020 season. You might not have known it when you met Will. You might not have known it when you went on to have your 2 boys. But like to know that you were living just in his glory right now of where he has called you to be in the refinement. I mean, I can just see it and feel it the second that you walked into this room, just your contentment, right? But I know it wasn't always easy to get there. So what did you learn about yourself maybe in wrestling in those moments of like, were you angry with God, or were you like, okay, I'm trusting, because I know we all handle certain moments differently, right? We
Yeah.
handle mountains differently. We handle the pit differently. You know, did people meet you in the pit?
Yeah.
Well, like, what were you feeling?
I wasn't angry. Because I did, after I mentioned I got pregnant with my first son during that stretch. And so it still felt like a really sweet time, like, oh, wow, what a gift that I get to like be home the whole time that I'm pregnant, and I get to be home for such a long stretch of maternity leave. And then there was a job to go back to, right? I went right back after maternity leave was over. And it wasn't until getting pregnant with my second son a couple seasons later that I really was faced with, okay, I know what it takes to be the best at this job. Yeah. And I also know how I want to be a mother to two very little boys. And those two things cannot coexist here. And it can for some. So awesome, right? That was not the reality for me. I knew that I needed to be home. I knew that that was a greater calling than going to cover another Bucks Celtics game on a Thursday night. Well, now I've got to make a real decision. Yeah. And again, circumstances beyond my control made this decision for me because TNT, the network that I worked for so many seasons, lost the rights to broadcast the NBA while I'm on maternity leave with my second son. And so I wouldn't say that I was angry either time that these jarring circumstances took away this thing I had built my life on. But I do think that angry is not the word, but certainly searching. I briefly mentioned, but I genuinely feel ashamed at like how much I needed the applause that I was getting regularly. And I wouldn't have said it then. Like if we had sat down, this side of just 5 years ago, and I would have been like, oh, this is what I do. It's not who I am. And I would genuinely have believed that I meant that when I said it. Yeah. But it wasn't until what I do was gone that I realized that was a bigger part of who I am than I think I realized. And to be doing like much harder work at home with
you mean you don't get
boys
applauses at home, Kristen?
like what? To be doing this like hard and holy work that I know has implications in eternity. But like nobody's paying attention. And I didn't realize how hard a transition that would be for me to go from this thing that I did to what I'm doing now. Yeah. And genuinely feel content in it. And it's been like a 1.5 year long transition from what I was doing and where I was to genuinely feeling like every single day there is so much value in what I'm doing now. And doing nothing is not nothing.
It's everything.
It's everything. And I mean, even my oldest son, who is not old, we have like very few, I don't know about y'all and because you and your husband have both done like incredibly cool things. I don't know how many like pictures there are of y'all doing those incredibly cool things are around your house, but I would imagine there's more like family photos than there are pictures of you guys doing the incredibly cool things that you did prior to having your family. Same as at my house. But there are a couple of pictures that I like really love that are in my office at home. And my oldest son came in, like these pictures have been in there his entire life. They all happened before he was born. And it was recently, and he looked up and he was like, "Mommy, who is that in that picture with you?" And I'm like, "Well, his name's LeBron James, and he's really good at basketball." And there's another picture, and he said, "Well, who was that?" And I was like, "Well, his name was Kobe Bryant. He was really good at basketball too." And he went down this line of framed pictures that I have on the shelf in my office, and asked about all of them. And then he said, "I don't want you to go work there. I want you to work here." He wasn't impressed by any of that.
They don't care.
And in the scope of eternity, there's not a lot that's happened there that's going to hold a ton of weight. And what I'm doing with him on my $0 a year salary plus benefits is like, I believe with every fiber of my being that I will stand before my Creator one day and answer for the way that I raised these 2 young men. And those pictures of me with those people who were really good at basketball, those aren't gonna, they'll be framed as long as I'm alive, but that, like, beyond that, it's not gonna matter. It just isn't. And so again, it's much like you asked about my falling in love with Jesus. There was no one moment, the same way that there was no one moment that made me feel like, wow, motherhood, I've embraced it and I am now content. No, it's just been this long process of becoming now this.
Yeah.
And I can say, though, that I the same God who opened those doors did these and is with me in every bit of it, the way he was then and is now. And despite there not being this audience of millions that either is like, wow, those were really great questions, or wow, let's tear her apart on Twitter until her name trends. There is no audience watching, but like he still is.
They're the most important audience.
Right?
Yeah.
Like still has his eyes on me here and still says, like, you are significant and you are seen and you are known. And that is the reality for every single person listening here. Like you said, like, it may not be this Hall of Fame broadcasting career that comes to an end because of a global pandemic, but it may be that, like, every athlete has an expiration date and every game has a final buzz. It does end, every bit of it. And the opportunity to know the answer to that question, who am I, before it ends, it's just one you don't want to miss.
Yeah.
It really is.
I've loved seeing your transformation from afar into this new space, but you're not completely out of basketball yet. It'll never leave you.
Thank you.
Because you say, first of all, listen here. She says, oh, I just do this. I'm just, doing the hard and holy work at home. Please. She is also a business woman. This one. Kristen, how are you still interweaving into the world of basketball? Because here's what I love. It looks different.
Yeah.
But it's so fulfilling in other ways. So what does basketball look like for you now?
Yeah, so I launched this kids' clothing line called Positionless. I came up with the idea pretty shortly after having my first son, and one of my very well-known coworkers was like, how are you feeling post-maternity leave? I was like, I don't know, because, like, I'm sitting in this same seat with all the same people, but, like, nothing feels the same. I don't know how to, I'm mad when a game goes to overtime and it means I have to be here later because I have a baby at home and I can't.
I do know.
Right? Like, I can't even, because the importance, it's like, how can I make basketball important again when, like, this is what's waiting for me at home? And he looked at me, and I'll never forget, he was like, that's no problem, you're positionless. Like, it's what we had gone on to call people like LeBron James. Like, if you're a better point guard than an actual point guard is, and this positionless basketball is describing this new wave of the game where nobody is really in one role anymore. Like, you've got to be an all-around athlete to really make it in the NBA these days, to really, either you've got to be like the best of the best in your one niche role, or you've just got to be positionless. And I took that idea and kind of thought, okay, so, like, what do I care? I care about basketball, obviously, still. It's not as important as it was because now I've got a son, and what is it that I like about this season of life? And so that was kind of the conception of the idea. But I wanted, though, for them to, because you've shopped, obviously, for a lot of kids' clothing in your time. And what do I wear all the time? You dress nicer than I do, like, on a regular basis, but I'm just always, no, you do.
Athleisure.
Yeah. Right. But you're like elevated athleisure. I'm like the sweats that I'm wearing daily, I've had for like 12, 13, 14, 15 years. Oh my goodness. But that's how you get them soft, Like, I'm like, oh, I can't, no, I don't want this new sweatshirt. It's all crispy. But I like the soft, washed, warm. Well, by nature, kids don't have that because they outgrow everything before you can wash it and wear it a million times. And so I was like, well, what if we could create something that already has the texture of being washed and worn, but all you have to make fit is the wrists and the neck and the waist and the ankles, and you can put as much fabric as you want in between that. So I'm like, okay, we'll do it intentionally oversized. And it sounds now like I'm trying to put on an infomercial for my brand. I'm not trying to sell it to anybody, but that's the way that my mind started working because I'm home with this little boy that I'm shopping for, but also here's what I really love. And also I really like this other thing, and maybe we could create this. And so the fact that it, it really did start just in my home while I was navigating the earliest days of being a mother.
Okay, here's what's so cool about that. And this is so important, I think, for student athletes, for those students that are just really driven by leadership is, Kristen, something didn't go the way that you wanted it to. Something came to you and you said, oh, I'm passionate about this. I'm going to go do it. Yeah. And you're still in the game that you love. And so you learned how to pivot, right?
Thank you. That
towards
means a lot
something
to me
else. And I think that is what's so beautiful and what all of us are called to, right? Because, it's not when we're going to not fail, but get a hiccup, get a trial, a tribulation. It's when.
We'll just be done. Yeah, right.
And as any true athlete knows, you can't fold in that moment.
Yeah.
You got to keep going and you got to keep showing up. And you showed up in a way that stewards your family.
Thank you.
Right?
Yeah.
So how did you feel like your faith grew in that loss, if you will?
Oh yeah.
But what you gained from that, and Kristen, you can sit back and you're going, thanks, Lord.
Yeah.
How do you give him the glory for that incredible transformation?
Yeah. I had watched, and I know that you have worked alongside, just by nature, you work alongside a lot of men, a lot of former athletes, right? And you see the ones that transition really well after their sport is not necessarily taken away, but once they're done, once they're retired, once they're done, it's over. Done. And you see the ones that make the transition really well, and you see the ones that don't. And that I had spent my entire adult life working alongside male athletes that no longer played the sport that they loved, and some that had just living lives that I just really deeply admire, and that's what I want to, like Grant Hill, right? I feel like I should just say his name at every turn if I can, because he just knowing him and working alongside him changed my career and my life, and but it's you're living a life that I admire, that I'd want my life to look like this one. And then there were a lot that weren't, and I won't drop names here, but you
tell
see
the way they carry
you just know,
it's
man, that was the one thing that you could do, and I was realizing this is happening to me right now in real time. I'm about to, in front of a lot of people, be either the one that kind of crashes out because I don't have anything else, or the one that really steps into this next season of life, trusting that the same God that has been good is going to be good. And the same one that has been faithful and provided for me and for my family still will be faithful and will provide for me and for my family. Because you mentioned Will, my husband, marrying a worship leader, you don't think, oh, you know what, I'm going to be able to retire early. No, you just think this is what I bring to the table, and this is what he brings to the table, and what he brings to the table has eternal value that my position does not. And so I love and trust and will follow your leadership of our marriage and our family. But also, when that TV contract goes away, I recognized that making some of the decisions that I did would mean my family giving up some things.
There'd be implications that came with it.
See, for sure. That was a much more eloquent way to wrap that up than the way I was about to. But one thing that I have learned, goodness, over this last year especially, is that watching the way that God has been a provider and a protector for my family. I will never get over some of the doors that have opened up in the last year since fully just opening my hands and for the first time in my adult life, I don't really have control over anything. I mean, I never did, but at least, when you're in like these multi-year contracts and you kind of know like this time next year, I'm going to be doing the same thing I was this time last year. And this time the year after that, I'm going to be doing the same thing as I am right now. And that went away. But also like, I mean, even back in November, the Bible app celebrates 1 billion downloads. And I have never to that point been asked to host any sort of faith-based broadcast ever, and I did not know how my name even got thrown into I don't even know how far along I was on the list.
Because you were called to it, and they knew that Kristen was going to do an incredible job. She has these gifts, these God-given gifts. Kristen, receive it. You were supposed to be there for a reason. Listen, she was on... It was 1 billion downloads on the Bible app.
But like, it was so significant even where it was going to happen. Like I get asked to do this at the arena where the Oklahoma City Thunder play. And it's the first NBA finals that I had missed in like 11 or 12 or 13 NBA finals. And so to be there, like standing under this banner of an NBA champion that was crowned without me on the sidelines, without me anywhere near the building, but to be there instead with still a sold out arena, but with people celebrating that the Bible is in 1 billion different hands. Like it just to watch there's one thing.
Tell me he doesn't love you. Right? Yeah.
Like,
yeah. It's so cool. I literally have chills.
One of my friend, mentor, everything, Shelly Giglio, who's Louie's wife. One of the things that she said to me, I mean, it had to be 10 years ago following another, goodness, there's so many things we could talk about. But one of the things that she said is, you have seen too much now to unsee.
God, that's good.
And what I feel like this last year of my life, I have seen too much now to unsee. I have seen the way that God has shown up for me, for my family. And it started quite literally the day after my contract ran out. A job offer for my husband we weren't expecting. Roles that I've been offered for, like, that I didn't seek out, right? Because, in our industry, you're always looking for the next thing, and you have to audition for it, and you have to kind of climb and claw for it, and you have to hold on to it. It's exhausting. And everything that has come to me in the last year, I did not ask for. And I'm just so blown away.
But he called you too.
Yeah. And I'm just so blown away that the same God who opened the doors I was kicking down is the one who's just really gently led me to the ones that I'm walking through now. I'm so blown away by it. And I've just seen too much now to unsee. Like, this last year of my life has blown my faith up in a way that I just can't unsee it.
That's so good, Kristen. I mean, and now you're, I love how you were like, literally, he came in to my life the day after my contract expired and was like, here you go. Here's all the
things that I already knew was going to happen.
Yeah.
And you didn't actually have to drown in anxiety at 2 and 3 a.m. every single day for the last year of your life. You didn't have to do any of that.
So you hear that, guys?
Like, I always knew this was coming.
Yes. Athletes, non-athletes.
Yes.
Everyone. Yeah. He already knows. He's already
knows.
Written it.
He's gone before us. And so for as much as I tried to control in the year leading up to that, when I knew that, like, okay, there's not going to be a job to go back to on TV. Well, what are we going to do now? And it's like, I just get short of breath even thinking about it. He already knew. He knew what was coming. He knew what he had for me, for my husband, for our family, and was like, hey, just rest. Yeah. Like, you can actually rest while I work. What?
And 365 times in the Bible it says, do not
be afraid.
Fear.
I knew you were going to make me cry. I just had a feeling. I was putting on mascara in the car, and I was like, why am I even doing this? She's going to make me cry as soon as we sit down.
I'm so proud of you, right? And like, hearing your story is going to resonate with so many people that are watching, no matter what walk of life they are, female, male, does not matter, Kristen, because again, trials and tribulations are going to come. We've heard all the saying, make your mess your message.
Right. Yeah,
With every breakdown becomes a breakthrough. And I just want to say that your story, again, to just drive it home one more time, through everything that you've been through, every hill, every valley, like all the things, he has guided you. He has been with you. You have leaned into the hard. You've said, yes, Lord. You were not afraid. You were afraid, but you knew you were not afraid because of whose you are, what he's called you to. And I am just so proud to be sitting across from you, knowing just like a little part of your bigger story, Kristen. Yeah. And like, I hope you know just what an incredible journey you've been on, and it's not over. Like it keeps getting better. Yeah. And the fact that you're sitting here across from me saying, man, when my contract ran out, this has been the greatest year of my life.
Yeah.
What?
And but I know you're trying to wrap me up, but I want to say that to you also, like into a microphone and like to where people will hear it. Cause I know I've said it to you a lot of times over the years, but you really and truly were the first that I saw in a role that I wanted to be in, give it up to live a life that I wanted to live. And you have been the blueprint, and I am very, very thankful.
You're so sweet. Well, I'm going to receive that.
Wow.
Whether I want to be like Kristen, that's ridiculous.
I'll learn that from you also. I've learned a lot from you. I'm going to start learning that from you also.
I think when you know, I've shared this before, but you know, John Maxwell has challenged me with, when you understand your purpose and your calling, everything else makes sense. And it's all kingdom driven, right? I mean, his is communication and evangelism. That's his purpose and his calling. And I think for both of us, it's still connection and it's still communicating. It's still evangelism.
Well, look, I mean, like right now, you know, like we're kind of doing the thing.
We're doing the thing. We get to talk about sports and Jesus.
Yeah. Like we're still talking into microphones, except like there's this freedom that I feel now when I like.
Isn't that fun?
But for real, like how much freedom there is in knowing that I don't represent anybody but me and Jesus. Like that I am going to say what comes into my mind and out of the overflow of my heart. And that look at how kind he's been, that I'm getting to sit next to you of all people.
So fun.
All these years later, talking into a microphone. Yeah. Like that's only God.
It's only God. And I feel like there has been a movement, and especially among our young people, truly, a movement more than ever of people talking about Jesus, sharing their faith, and being unapologetic about it.
Well, there's too much. We weren't created for this many options.
No.
And there's too much out there that's shallow, or that, well, I don't know. Is that video real?
It's not
going to
figure
it out. Right. And it is really and truly all so temporary. And I think that for real, this generation right behind us, like they're the first one to grow up with everything that we've had as adults. They're the first ones to just grow up with it being part of their everyday lives always. They don't know any other way. And they're like, there's got to be another way. Like there's got to be more here. There's got to be more that has depth. Like
there's got to be greater love elsewhere.
Like they're they're sifting everything that's shallow. And as someone who has done that multiple times as a grown up, like I know what will hold, and it's this. That's it. And what a cool thing that we still get to like do the thing.
Do the thing.
That you know the thing. We're still doing the thing.
I mean, this has been so lovely on so many fronts. And thank you for just sharing your heart and your story, the good, the bad, the ugly. And I mean, it's just going to continue to rise for you and your family. And
thank you. I'll receive that.
Receive it.
I'll receive that.
Absolutely. Because this right here, it's about, I mean, beyond the game, right?
Yeah,
like it's beyond more than basketball. It's beyond more than having your show in the NBA Hall of Fame. It's beyond getting to be, on the broadcast of the billion Bible downloads on the Bible app, and you getting to host that.
Well, because realistic, like it is a billion, but like it's really the one, every single one of the like. And for that right there, actually, that's what I'll take away from this last year is that like he sees the one, and that I am the one that he sees, that you are, you know, that he sees the one.
And pursues.
Oh,
And your story is so evident of that.
God, thank you.
You're chosen, and he's always going to pursue you.
Thank you. Oh, I love you.
This was so great. I love you too, friend. This has been so wonderful.
This really has like,
and we're going to have a whole
and our kids
extra
aren't here.
season
Yeah, what?
after this one episode.
Yes,
but
love it.
really, thank you guys so much. And most importantly, to Kristen Ledlow for sharing her heart and sharing her story. This has been another episode of Beyond the Game. And you guys know what to do. Go ahead. We'd love for you to comment on what you thought of our episode. Be sure to follow
We can handle it.
Beyond the Game as well. That's right. We have heard everything. There's probably nothing you could say that would shock
you
us.
could say to me on the internet.
But these are like
It's
good
been
hearts.
said.
These are good-hearted people. So thank you again, and we'll see you next time on another episode of Beyond the Game.